Welcome to OmniTalk, powered by NXTsoft. I'm your host, Amy Rice, and OmniTalk is a podcast focusing on fintech and how it affects banks and credit unions. On today's episode, Chris Cohen, EVP of Product, and Greg Schultz, Director of Product for Kasasa, will be giving us their views on where the industry is headed and sharing some surprises they've encountered this year. How are you guys doing?
Doing well.
Well, yeah, we're good. Thank you for having us.
So Kasasa just signed a partnership agreement with NXTsoft. Can you tell listeners what Kasasa does and maybe some highlights from the history of your company?
Yeah, so Kasasa is a fintech and marketing technology company. We're headquartered here in Austin as well. Our mission as a company is to work exclusively with community banks and credit unions. And what we try to do is build innovative solutions, so kind of unique products that they can offer that help them, either grow consumers or drive more profitability to their institution. And then we surround that with cutting edge marketing technology, as well as a bevy of support stuff. So whether it's compliance support or analytics, you name it. So it's kind of a situation where institutions can come to us and we'll have a full range of options to help them grow. I think ultimately, as a company, we've been doing this for about 16 years. And I think our success is predicated on two things. One, our mission as a company. We all truly believe in helping, the little guys grow and better compete against the big guys. And I think the second thing is the culture that we built internally. We really have a culture that's rallied around, folks feeling empowered to come up with great ideas, or feeling empowered to take charge and push back when ideas aren't working. And it really creates an opportunity where everybody feels like they have a voice. We've been ranked as one of the top 3 places to work in Austin. I think more broadly, we were ranked as one of the best fintech companies in the country to work for. And so we're really proud of what we've accomplished, and we're really excited about continuing to do it for years to come.
So you're both in product development. What do you think the industry needs to be ready for next?
I'm going to jump on this one. I think it's really interesting when you look at particularly lending, which is where Chris and I focus, on the commoditization of the consumer, the borrower themselves, particularly when you look at like mortgages, or now even as fintechs move deeper and deeper into all types of consumer lending. The industry in and of itself, the lending industry, has kind of stepped away from what the consumer needs and what they care about, and looked at how we can spin things through faster, securitize it, and sell it larger. And I think that's a bad trend. I mean, it makes the industry more money, and that's exactly where they wants to go. But the loss of what your consumer and your user needs is something that we have to be planning for. And honestly, that's what we've been focused on with Kasasa Loans, is finding out, hey, what does a borrower want in a loan? What do they need to be successful? What do they need to grow? And as a human, as a person. And if we can focus there, and you can build trust and loyalty there, and particularly through our institutions, who most all the time on the community institutions, that is their mission, to help their community. Well, then we get this double win. And I think that's what our industry, particularly lending, needs to be looking at. Not how do I build a better marketplace and sell these things through faster and get people into deeper debt. That doesn't help necessarily anyone. It's how do I think about what the person on the other side of this, the human being, needs. And I think that's what we should be looking at.
So what are you working on now to meet that challenge?
For us here at Kasasa, particularly, I would say our Kasasa Loans product on the consumer side, auto and personal, that's 100% focused on what borrowers need and the actual what they want out of a loan, and how we can help them build their finances and grow and educate. It's a really cool product in terms of how it actually meets their needs. And it's through partnerships with NXTsoft and their drive toward open banking, which doesn't exist in the US, that really enable us to put that in the hands of these community institutions that are then going to put it in the hands of borrowers that need it the most. And so we're extremely proud of our being able to partner with you guys, and of course our partnerships with these community institutions to be able to tackle that challenge for consumer lending.
In this year's surprises, what surprised you the most?
I think the biggest thing that surprised me is how consumers have actually responded to this and the resilience that they've shown. We've seen, at least in our product lines, consumers doing everything that they possibly can to continue to pay down loans, for instance, or to continue to sock away money and keep on keeping on, despite being, having their worlds turned upside down. I think there's this immediate cringe factor where, everybody thought when COVID hit, for instance, like, man, people are going to be out of work, unemployment is spiking, and you're going to see massive delinquencies and charge-offs in lending, for instance. I don't think that we're unique in the fact that what we have seen is consumers have certainly pulled back a little bit in terms of some of the paying ahead that they were doing or trying to get out of debt faster, but they've gone to, great lengths to ensure that they do remain current. As a matter of fact, in 2020, across our entire client base in the Kasasa loan product, we have not had a loan get charged off. And I think it's more of a testament to that human spirit to be able to adapt and to stay on track and to find creative ways to ensure that, things don't go completely off the rails when it feels like everything else in this world around us right now is starting to swerve a little bit. Just
to add to that, it goes back to the consumer response we're hearing from our institutions. When we know that things are in a topsy-turvy world and the consumer outlook on life isn't necessarily the greatest and consumer confidence isn't the highest, when institutions leverage things like the Kasasa loan and say, hey, here's a product that's going to help you, it's going to help you understand your debt and long term, the thank yous, the positivity there that comes back to our institutions as part of that is just really phenomenal.
Can you speak to how NXTsoft and Kasasa's platforms support community financial institutions?
Yeah, absolutely. For Kasasa, as Chris explained earlier, our whole mission is about helping community financial institutions. And if you know the space, I think I looked at the metric the other day, Chase, it said, spent like $11 billion on R&D. That's larger than the vast majority of our financial institutions' total asset size. So they don't have the resources to build the technology that's out there and compete at that level. So that's where companies like Kasasa, like Kasasa Checking and Kasasa Loans, and really help take a consumer-centric view of the world. But it's companies, we can't deliver that to the institution without support. And it's companies like NXTsoft who are taking the steps to build, what would be considered an open banking platform, helping us connect and put these tools in the hands of those institutions where the synergy really comes into play and it's going to move the whole space forward.
Awesome. Well, I know everyone at NXTsoft is very excited for the partnership and to see kind of us growing together and us really building a support system for community financial institutions. So we're very excited for the partnership.
Us too.
All right. So last question. This is a fun one. If you could have dinner with anyone, living or dead, who would that be and why? And Chris, you can answer first.
Listen, I have an 8-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a newborn. So if you would be willing to find a way to give me an hour one-on-one with my wife over dinner, I think both of us would gladly sign up for it. Now, we'd be willing to do it at McDonald's if we could just get the peace and quiet. So that would be like my heart answer. My more professional answer, I'd probably choose Warren Buffett. I think if you look at a man that's been able to deliver superior results over decades and all the things that he's been through, I'd be really interested to get his take on the state of the industry right now. And I'm speaking more fintech at large, and both, what he thinks is driving so much of this innovation and change and where he thinks we are on the curve and where he thinks, ultimately things are going to land. And I think it would just be an incredibly insightful conversation, and that would be a dream come true. But yeah, wife number one. And if she's not available, I'll take Warren as a backup. Go ahead, Greg. Who would you take?
I enjoy casual, loud dinners. So what I would say is if I had one person to go with, it'd have to be, I think Robin Williams. I've been thinking about this. I think that would be, I probably wouldn't get anything eaten. I'd probably just spend the entire time choking on food and drinks and laughing. But he's been such an incredible figure across my life and growing up with his movies, and a great comedian. I think that would have been a really enjoyable night.
Thanks so much for having us, and we really look forward to working with you and your team. And I think there's a bright future ahead, and we're excited to get this thing going.
Thanks, Chris and Greg. This episode of OmniTalk was sponsored by NXTsoft. NXTsoft is your all-in-one stop to help your company secure, connect, and optimize your data. Welcome to Data Done Right. Thanks for listening to OmniTalk powered by NXTsoft. Tune in 2 weeks from today for an episode all about APIs with NXTsoft's own CTO, Will Blackburn. Until then, stay safe and stay well.